Somewhere out there, Dave from Delaware is still wandering a 4,000-year-old tomb looking for a vending machine. This episode is for him.
You're listening to Unbound Off Script. No outlines, no safety nets, just Beth Curry talking about whatever the hell she wants, or whatever the hell you've asked her to uncover. It's unfiltered, it's unpredictable, and it's officially started. Pull up a chair.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Unbound. I guess. Usually we have a plan. Sometimes we have a guest who knows things. But today, in the spirit of my previous episodes about customer service, or lack thereof, I spent 45 minutes on TripAdvisor reading reviews for the Great Pyramids of Giza. And I've decided that the Enlightenment was a mistake and we should probably just return to the sea. Okay? So a user named Dave _ Delaware gave the last remaining wonder of the ancient world a structure built with like 2 million stone blocks over like 20 years. 2 stars. Why? Because, and I quote, "It was hot and there were no vending machines inside." Dave, it is a tomb in the Sahara. Pharaoh Khufu didn't really prioritize your need for a Diet Mountain Dew when he was planning his journey into the afterlife 4,000 years ago. So today, we're going to go off script and defend the planet's greatest hits from the people who think that the world should be one giant air-conditioned Starbucks. Grab a drink. It's going to get petty. Okay, so let's stay with Egypt for a moment. Another user, Brenda88, complained that the pyramids were, quote, "too sandy." Brenda, it's the desert. What were you expecting? Shag carpet? Maybe a nice laminate flooring? The Sahara is, by technical definition, a significant amount of sand, ma'am. Okay? Complaining about sand at the pyramids is like going to the ocean and being offended that it's wet. And I know there are people out there who are, I'm sure. Then there's the too many triangles complaint. One reviewer said, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. Just big stone triangles. Imagine being so bored by the laws of physics and ancient engineering that you dismiss a 480-foot monument as a repetitive geometric shape. Oh, the Milky Way, just a bunch of dots. Seen 1 star, seen them all. 2 stars out of 5. Needs more neon. That is so bizarre. So bizarre. And while we're rating ancient geological and architectural achievements like Yelp brunch spots, let's take a quick detour to Arizona, shall we? The Grand Canyon, one of the most geologically significant formations on Earth. Loved this place. We took a helicopter 10 years ago out of Las Vegas. Well, not right out of Las Vegas, but just outside of Las Vegas. Took a helicopter to the Grand Canyon, landed in it, had a picnic, and flew back. It was awesome. Like, it was just such an amazing way to see it. But Kyle with AK gave it 1 star. It's just a big hole. I can see a hole in the ground at home for free. Also, no guardrails in some spots, and I felt judged by a squirrel. Kyle, yes, it is technically a hole. Yes, absolutely. So is the Pacific Ocean. So is your understanding of erosion. Okay, this hole was carved over 6 million years by the Colorado River, where I had my picnic. Lovely. I'm sorry that it didn't come with a retractable roof and a safety bubble. And I don't know. I don't think a squirrel was judging you. I'm pretty sure that was your own stupid conscience. So speaking of neon, let's head back to Las Vegas. The city of lights, excess, and broken dreams. Now, I go to Vegas a lot. I've been to Vegas a lot. I never wanted to go to Vegas. I always thought it was just so friggin' filthy. But I went once and I couldn't stop going. I think it's pretty great. All the amenities of a modern society in a habitat unfit to grow a tomato, right? So user Vicky gave the entire Las Vegas Strip 1 star because, and I quote, "too loud, too many lights, people were gambling at 3 a.m., and the fountains at the Bellagio were too wet. Vicky, you went to the gambling capital of the world and were shocked to find people gambling? Like, do you go to the library and get pissed off because it's quiet? The fountains were too wet? What would you prefer, Vicky? A fountain that sprays lukewarm dust? A fountain that gently mists you with disappointment? I mean, that's all I've ever experienced there. Sometimes, Vegas is kind of windy. It's the desert, it is what it is. And sometimes you get a little blowback, but it's a mist. Like, Las Vegas is a sensory assault by design, Vicky. Okay, if you wanted a silent, dark room with no water, you could have stayed in your basement and saved $3,000 on blackjack. I don't know. Vegas isn't alone in being misunderstood, especially the water part. Niagara Falls, someone named Cynthia gave it 1 star because the water was aggressive and she couldn't hear her husband talk and the mist ruined her hair. Tragic. If we could just take a moment for Cynthia here. This is just, devastating. Cynthia, it's 3,000 tons of water per second. Okay, it's not a spa water feature at a Marriott, for crying out loud. It's a hydraulic apocalypse. Okay, the waterfall is not going to lower its volume, so Greg can finish his sentence about the outlet mall. Okay? Then there's LA, another place I go to all the live long day. I love LA. I lived there in a past life. I want to live there in this life. City of Angels. One reviewer gave the Hollywood sign 1 star because it's just letters on a hill. You can't even touch them. I thought there would be more celebrities. Okay. Yes, that's right. When Tom Hanks wants to relax, he definitely climbs a steep, dirt-covered vertical incline to sit under a giant piece of sheet metal, while tourists from Ohio take pictures of his shoes. Am I right? Yeah, that's why I hiked up Mount Lee that one time and stood behind the sign. I was looking for him. It's just letters, correct. Yes, it is a sign. Its job is to be read, not to provide a VIP meet and greet with the cast of the Avengers, okay? Mount Everest, since we're already in the land of crushed expectations. Steph on Holiday wrote, I climbed for 2 hours. Still wasn't at the top. Way too much uphill, no escalator. 1 star. Now, I know this was a joke because you don't just casually go climb Everest one Tuesday afternoon, But still, it's Mount Everest. It's not the Mall of America. The entire brand of the mountain is inconvenience and likely death, inevitable. You're probably going to die. If it were flat, it would be called Nebraska. Okay. Heading back up my way, my neck of the woods, Toronto. Say it how you say it, Toronto. The CN Tower, for decades, the tallest freestanding structure in the world. User Mike789, wow, that's creative, gave it 1 star, of course. Too high, I got dizzy. Also, you can see the whole city, but I don't really like Toronto that much. So it was just a lot of stuff I don't like all at once. This is peak Canadian spite, okay? Giving a tower a bad review because it was too good at being a tower. Too high. It's an observation deck, dude. It's not a basement. If you didn't want to see Toronto, why did you pay like $100 to go line up and get in the elevator and go to the one place where you literally can't avoid seeing it? I don't know. It's like going to a concert for a band that you hate so you can complain that the music is too loud, which I'm sure there's a review of somewhere. And if you think that's peak altitude entitlement, let's do the Northern Lights, okay? Bradley_reviews gave the Aurora Borealis 1 star. He says, waited 3 nights, didn't show up, very unprofessional. Tour guide blamed solar activity, sounds made up. I kind of think this review does too, but I don't know. I don't know anymore what's real and what's not, right? So yes, Bradley, charged solar particles interacting with Earth's magnetosphere are absolutely a scam orchestrated by Big Sky. Absolutely. I'm sorry the cosmos didn't sync its plasma emissions with your Expedia itinerary. I wish you luck next time. And how about the American Midwest, specifically the world's largest ball of twine in Kansas? This particular user, Joe, wrote, it's just string. It just smells like old rope. Kansas is too flat, 1 star. Joe, it's a ball of twine. It's not the Sistine Chapel, sir. It's the result of one man's very specific, very lonely hobby that got kind of out of hand. Complaining that Kansas is too flat is like complaining the sky is too blue. The Midwest doesn't owe you a mountain range, Joe. It owes you corn and industrial silos and the polite silence of people who are wondering why you're staring at their string. Go somewhere else if you want a mountain, my man. I don't know. Flat landscapes and niche hobbies aren't the only victims, because Trevor89 writes this about Stonehenge. Just rocks in a circle. My uncle has rocks. Parking was expensive. Okay. Trevor, your uncle did not align his rocks with the solstices in 2500 BC. Your uncle's rocks are decorative gravel. You know, these rocks predate written English. But I'm sorry about the 5-pound parking or whatever it costs. I don't know. I've never been there. China, the Great Wall. This is a fortification stretching over 13,000 miles, I think, designed to protect a literal empire. And one reviewer, clearly a connoisseur of masonry or something, gave it 1 star and titled the review, "The All Right Wall of China." They said, and I quote, "It's long, but so is the M6 motorway, and at least you can drive on that." Now, I appreciate the honesty, but comparing a Ming Dynasty architectural feat to a British highway, I think is a level of psychological warfare I wasn't really prepared for in my readings this morning. Another reviewer complained that there was a wall in the way, and it it blocked their view of the area. Yes, that's how walls work. They are traditionally opaque. If you wanted transparency, you should have visited a glass factory or a particularly desperate politician. While we're still critiquing large-scale natural and structural phenomenon, back to the Sahara Desert, Urban Explorer 22 gave it 1 star. Very dry, lips chapped, sand got everywhere, no shade trees would not return. Shade trees. Guys, shade in the desert. I don't know how to tell you this gently, but that's the brochure. You know, that is the entire definition of the desert. You went to the Sahara and maybe you were expecting central air and a splash pad. I don't know. Moving on to Paris. The Louvre, the pinnacle of human artistic achievement, and yet if you look at the 1-star reviews, for the friggin' Mona Lisa, a recurring theme emerges. She's smaller than my TV. User Shaza66 gave it 1 star because, and I quote, "The lady in the picture looked mad and the frame was dusty." Shaza, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but Leonardo da Vinci didn't have a 65-inch 4K OLED screen for reference in 1503. He was busy inventing helicopters and not having polio. The painting is 30 inches tall. It's a portrait. It is not a billboard for a personal injury lawyer. And as for her not smiling back, maybe she's just exhausted from looking at you, Shaza. I don't know. Maybe she's seen 40,000 selfies today and she's just waiting for the museum to close so she can have a glass of wine and some peace. And just so no ecosystem feels left out, the Amazon rainforest, Lindsay loves life. I don't know. If you love life, are you giving things 1 star? Apparently we are. Too humid, bugs were intrusive, saw a spider the size of my hand. Nature needs boundaries. Nature does not, in fact, need boundaries, ma'am. That's the rainforest's whole thing. It's a biodiversity hotspot, Lindsay. It's not an Airbnb, okay? You walked into 2.1 million square miles of organisms and were shocked that some of them acknowledged you? Are you well, ma'am? Since clearly nothing on Earth is good enough for you people, perhaps you just need merch that matches your energy. You know, we can have a shirt that says the All Right Wall of China in Comic Sans. Perfect for the person in your life who thinks the Great Pyramids are just okay. Maybe for the hikers, a water bottle that says 1 star, too much dirt, and maybe a poster of the Mona Lisa with the caption, I didn't smile back because I'm judging your outfit. I don't know. It's the type of thing that might give Dave from Delaware some inner peace. Here's the truth, though. We've commodified the sublime, okay? We think that because we paid for a plane ticket, the universe owes us a cinematic experience tailored to our specific aesthetic preferences, right? If the mountain isn't grammable, the mountain is broken. If the ancient ruins don't have high-speed Wi-Fi, the ancestors have failed us. We're living in an era where people give the sun a bad review because it caused a glare on their phone screen while they were trying to tweet about how much they hate the outdoors. I don't know, somewhere out there, someone is likely typing, the ocean, too salty, fish were staring at me, the Alps, snow was cold, Venice, water in the streets, city planning, fail. The sun caused glare on my phone, and the moon was hard to get to, phases are confusing, and the planet's just spinning. Okay, it's completely unaware that Brenda thought it was too sandy. Now, you knew this part was coming. I think there's actually something psychological going on here. When we pay for something, especially travel, our brains kind of shift into consumer mode. Like there's an expectation inflation. The more we invest financially and emotionally, the more we unconsciously expect a return that feels kind of cinematic. And I blame social media for this too. Social media amplifies that. Like back in the day, it used to just be brochures that gave you this false sense of something. But social media is insane for this. We don't just want the experience. We want the version of it we've already imagined, right? So when the desert's too hot or the city is too loud or the mountain is too steep, it feels like a product of malfunction instead of reality. And in something called hedonic adaptation, the tendency to normalize extraordinary experiences very quickly, and suddenly standing in front of a 4,000-year-old wonder becomes just rocks, right? The brain downgrades this awe into inconvenience because awe actually requires humility. And humility isn't very Yelp friendly, if you know what I mean. And maybe that's, why this attitude confuses me so much because, I don't know, like maybe it's just me. I've been to Las Vegas, I've been to Los Angeles, I've been to some of the most heavily populated areas of the world. I've climbed mountains, I've swum in oceans, I've seen kangaroos, I've swam with sharks, I've swam with pigs. I'm so grateful for every experience I've ever had because I have the freedom to travel because I'm fortunate enough to have the money to do it. So I just don't understand this kind of attitude. Like, are these people just so well off and they've kind of run out of things to do with their money that like gives them a hit of dopamine or something? And so they're just complaining about like literally everything. I don't know. I just don't get it. None of those moments I experienced were perfect. Don't ask me about the sea turtle. Some were uncomfortable, some were chaotic, but like every single one felt like an absolute privilege to me. The noise, the heat, the crowds, that's part of the texture of being alive in a place that isn't built specifically for me. And I think maybe that's the difference. You can approach the world like it owes you a 5-star performance, or you can approach it like you were lucky enough to get a ticket at all, right? That's it for this episode. If you enjoyed this, please leave me a 5-star review, unless you think my voice is too gravelly or the episode is too wordsy, in which case, please keep it to yourself. I already know I'm a 3-star human at best. Go outside, look at a rock. Don't complain about it.
You've been listening to Unbound Off Script. The script is gone, the chair is empty, and Beth Curry is officially out of here. If you've got something you want her to dive into next time, let us know. Until then, stay curious, stay raw, and keep it unbound.